Hey, it's Ricardo and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. Now, as we know, there's some money to be made in those asteroids. And this episode of Reboot and Restart is going to cover what you need to go and make some decent money mining. So, you're going to need kit. But what kit will you need? And everyone has covered this. You're going to need a decent ship to put all this lovely mining equipment in. Okay, and it's got to be sizable enough where you can actually get some cargo in it. You're going to need a refinery, you're going to need a pulse wave scanner to prospect those asteroids, you're going to need an abrasion blaster to scrape off those surface deposits, a displacement missile to shoot at the asteroids, to burrow down and get those subsurface minerals and materials, seismic charges to crack those asteroids open like an egg, cargo space to put your materials in, prospector limpet controller so you can fire these limpets off left, right and centre to see what asteroids have actually got some decent materials. Don't forget your limpets. You can make them, and a collector limpet controller. Now, fire groups. Let's talk about those, right? Fire groups are very important. I've set mine out in the following methods you can see on the screen. I've given myself 2 beam lasers. I then got an abrasion blaster, then paired up with a collector limpet. I've got a subsurface displacement missile, then paired up with a collector limpet, and I've got seismic charges then paired up with a collector limpet. Okay, so I can then do my secondary fire and fire off a collector limpet and not go up and down through all these different fire groups. My pulse wave analyzer is then paired up with my prospector limpet, and all the other stuff is then down to your own personal choice. I thought a bit long and hard about how to do these fire groups, and I think this is probably one of the best ways of doing it. However, if you've got a better way of doing it, I'd love to know about that. Keep it clean, keep it civil, we're all friends here. I'd just like to know. If you've got a video of your own, let me know. Also, refinery management. Keep an eye on your hopper beds, right? How many hoppers you've got empty. No point going out there and finding a huge deposit of void opals that are going to hand you 1.6 million at the right station if you've got no hoppers available in your refinery, because they're all full of low temperature diamonds or bromolite or alexandrite or something else that's going to get you a lot of money. So just be careful. Being careful with this is going to get you a lot of money. If you're a little bit lackadaisical, then what's going to happen is you're going to start ejecting some of this stuff out into space. As I mentioned, you can make limpets should you leave space without them. I think it's nickel and iron. There you go, nickel and iron. If you've got nickel and iron materials and you've rushed out of that spaceport in a hurry, then all is not lost. You can make limpets, okay, at a few at a time. So once you're in system, you're going to go through the whole scanning, okay? You're going to get your full spectrum scanner out, okay? You're going to scan, you're going to find all those planets that have got nice rings, or hey, you can just go to an extraction site that's already been prospected. But the big bounty is in the ringed planets. So you're going to go through, you're going to scan it, and you're going to find those ringed planets. Now, we're not going to spend too much time here because everybody knows about this. If you don't, there's videos on my channel about it. Go check them out. Alternatively though, if there is a nav beacon in system, it's just as easy to fly off, conventionally scan that navigation beacon, and get all the information of that system direct to your control panel. Rock in there, drop into normal space, scan the beacon, takes about 10 to 15 seconds. You may get shot, you may not. But once you've got that information, you can then go into the system scanner view, the system that you're in, and you can then pick up the particular planet that you're going to go mining. Alright, now I've picked one here, look, nice icy rings. Could be void opals there, low temperature diamonds, alexandrite, all this stuff. And this is what we're all after. Now everyone seems to be going for the pristine rings. It's not all about that really, is it? You know, I made quite a bit of money on normal reserves. Low reserves, probably not, but normal reserves, yeah, you probably can. And then once you've picked out your world, chances are it's going to be quite the distance away from your drop-in point. It's just you in your ship to pass a little bit of time. Hey, but that's okay, we've got Galnet and the Codex to keep us company now while we're zipping through space. Although it is going to be quite eventful if you've already got some expensive materials or minerals in your cargo hold. People are going to spot those, they're going to be pulling you out, and if you haven't got any defensive weapons on your miner, then, you know, you're not going to get rich very quickly, or you're going to be very good at evading interdiction. So when you're on approach to your planet of question, your planet with your nice rings, you're going to have to get in there and use what used to be called the Discovery Scanner. It's now called the Surface Scanner. So you're going to have to equip one of those and then use it. So you've got all these probes, fire your probes off, okay? You get a bonus if you fire them off under the remit that it says you can have in the bottom right hand side. One probe will scan the rings for you, so don't panic there, and they'll show up as a nice orange splodge on your screen. I always tend to make a meal of this scanning just to make sure I haven't missed anything, but typically once you get to 90% it then says, right, when you've scanned that entire planet, thank you very much, we'll make up the rest of the data yourselves. It's just getting to that magic 90%. So I tend to fire one at the centre, and then one at the top, one at the bottom, and one either side. That tends to get it 9 times out of 10. So something you gotta do, unless you drop into a Has-Res. And if you drop into a Has-Res, well then I don't think you're going to get as lucrative as materials as you can do when you prospect these planets out like this. Okay, so the Void Opals god has shined on me, and there's a Void Opals deposit there. Now it's not all about Void Opals. Yes, you can get an awful lot of money, but everyone's going for Void Opals. What about alexandrite? What about some of the other materials that are out there? Something that is not so sought after. The markets are changing dynamically. Where you can get 1.6 million for void opals today, chances are you're not going to be able to get that tomorrow. Okay? Dropping into an asteroid field like this and seeing a big cloud means that some cheeky monkey's already mined it. It's not just there for pretty effect. Use night vision that came with chapter 4 to your advantage. Switching it on helps you see in the dark. Now you're going to spend a hell of a lot of time in these asteroid fields scanning and pulse scanning and using that pulse wave scanner to try and identify the cherry in this asteroid field. And that cherry is going to have fissures. You're going to be able to see them. Being able to see them a mile off. All these glowing asteroids mean different things to different people, and it's going to take time for you to go in there and realise which asteroids are the one for you. Normally the really bright yellow ones have got nothing in them. I saw a post on Facebook where if it looks like Thanos' chin, there's nothing in, which is quite funny because the asteroid did actually look like the chin of Thanos from the Marvel universe. My advice with these clouds are, pick a different place. Just go off to the right or left or wherever, just, you know, it's pointless going in there, someone's already been in there, and start your scans. Finding that asteroid, when you do, is going to feel like you've struck virtual gold, because you know there's going to be something worthwhile in there. You'll be able to see the fissures glinting and gleaming as you get close. There's going to be loads of deposits on there. Up to you if you want to get your dispersion missiles out and start burrowing into the surface and scraping what's on the outside first. But chances are it's going to be things like water or hydrogen or something like that. Who knows? But something usually of low valuable. But the stuff that's actually inside it, that's the stuff you want. You want to get in there and you want to crack that thing open. And when you do, it's going to spew forth its bounty. So here you go. Here's a worthy candidate. Just look, try and look at it and try and sort of, it's hard to memorize because once you see one rock, it all sort of fades into other things. But you can tend to pick out some of the fissures and some of the details on there. Look at that lovely fissure there, look. You can see it right there. Now this usually means you've found yourself a bountiful asteroid that you can get your seismic charges out, shoot them at that fissure and other fissures on the asteroid surface, make sure you get it all right, crack it open, and then you're going to be rewarded with all the materials that are contained wherein. When you scan it, you know when you got a good one. It'll flash similar to what it's flashing on the screen, and you'll be able to see it a mile off, like sort of a yellowy red, sort of deep colour. You think, whoa, that looks ripe. I'll have that. And then once the scan's completed and you fired your prospector limpet off at it, it'll identify all the areas that you can fire off, either mine or you can fire your seismic charges at. Now I say you can mine the deposits for a little bit of extra bounty if you've got space in your refinery, or you can get right down to it, fire seismic charges into the surface like what I'm doing now, matching up the charge of the seismic charges to the requirement of the asteroid fissure. Like say low strength, just blip that one or blip that one trigger or your mouse button, whatever fires that limpet off, just press it and release it straight away. Midpoint or average strength, you got to try and hit it in the middle. High strength, keep your finger on and away it goes. And you'll see in the top right hand side the detonation yield. The sweet spot is going to be in that red bar. Okay, anything over, and then it's going to crack the asteroid open, but it's not going to release as many materials. Anything under, you might get one or two or nothing at all. Get it right, it's great. Get it wrong, and you're going to be crying into the milk because you're not going to get as much from that asteroid, and it could be a missed opportunity. Let's talk about safe distance. So you fired your charges off and it starts counting down, right? Getting around that asteroid to get the right amount of charges in to get it into the red spot, the good yield, is going to be tricky, because you think, oh, there's loads of seconds there, we've got ages. It goes down surprisingly quick, and you can accentuate this as well, right? You can just select one of the fissures and say detonate from the left hand panel. Now, shields. All the pips to shields, because when this thing goes off, it can cause you a bit of damage. Worthwhile backing off to a bit of a safe distance as well. Okay, now this yield's a little bit low, but I couldn't find any other low yield fissures to stick the seismic charges into. So it'll go off. There you are, Luxie. Thank you very much. It's going off. The lovely explosion. It says detonation failed. You've only released one resource. So then you've got to go back, fire another charge in there, and that high yield fissure. That takes it into the red zone, and then it will crack open, and chances are you're going to get 15 material items floating around, plus ones that you can then scrape off with your abrasion blaster. Now, here's the thing. This abrasion blaster hack or exploit that's currently around, Frontier know about it, they're gonna fix it. If you want to go out there and you don't know about it, have more than one abrasion blaster and you'll get double the items that you'll scrape off your asteroid surface. Me, I'm just doing it as it was intended. I mentioned this in one of my other videos as well. I'm just getting tired of the exploits. And I'm a hypocrite, right? I like an exploit and a money-making scheme as well as everybody else, but it's a little bit sloppy on the programming. I know people are going to be going in there and making an absolute killing. It just means there's going to be an awful lot of inexperienced commanders flying around in anacondas. Now, that's great. I'm sure people will really like that for the distant worlds that's currently going on. Because they need a ship that'll be able to jump great distances. But let's face it, you're spoiling the game. I mean, I do report on these exploits. Let's not get wrong about this. I'm not saying, you know, that I don't, and I do, and everybody else does. But here's the thing. I do it to bring attention to it, not to make a can load of money. I got money. I mean, I got about 4 billion worth of ships from doing passenger missions, and then there was all this. Then there was the skimmer missions, and then before that it was, you know, it was trading, and then before that, I've made a hell of a lot of money in combat. I've made an awful lot of money as well in trading. Trading for me, I think, personally, is one of the best things within the game, and the way of getting a vast amount of money. And of course, you got doing your missions as well. I mean, the skimmers, you were onto hiding for nothing. They were never going to let that go. But cracking asteroids like this is somewhat gratifying, although I do think it could get boring pretty quickly. I don't know, what do you think? Are you getting bored with mining already? It's spectacular, and there's that element of chance, you know. What do you think? Now, there is an engineer that you'll unlock by going through the engineering tree once you get Palin and all the rest of it, and Todd the Blaster and all these other engineers, and it'll be Selene Jean. Selene Jean is going to give you reinforced hulls and other modules like that, but to do that you're going to have to mine and sell 500 tons of any material, and then once you've done that, you've got to go out, and I think you've got to go and find panite from somewhere, so you have to drop into a resource site somewhere and mine some panite to go and give it to her to unlock her and get in her good graces. This isn't going to be a problem. At least you've got, I suppose, a method now that will be visually rewarding to mine all that panite, whereas beforehand people had to sit there in asteroid fields for what seemed like an age, just shooting asteroids with mining lasers. How boring is that? I mean, this is going to get old. I'm sure it is. With Chapter 4, we've had space phenomena, we've had some graphical updates, we've had changes to mining, we've had 2 ships. But so far, what else? Interactions with installations. Please help me out, I'm being attacked by pirates. Same with some of the mega ships as well. But we've also had Thargoid incursions, and that's something that I'm going to cover in a future video that I'm quite interested in. Let's go and take the fights to the Thargoids in a wave-based manner. But finding the asteroids is the key thing, right? I think the further you go out, and the distant world people are probably going to find this, you're going to find some cherry deposits. Of course, you're going to have to carry all those materials with you in your vast journey. Because I doubt there's going to be any stations out there, but who knows, right? Who knows what you're going to find. Once you find those asteroids, mine away. Take them to a station. Make your money. Buy your ship. Do what's important to you and what brings you enjoyment in the game. And I think that really is the message of this video straight off the bat. Do what's important to you. Don't just do things because people tell you to go and do them. Me, I'm not getting involved with distant worlds. I'm quite happy to, you know, casually fly around the bubble, seeing what's going on here, doing some Thargoid incursions, doing some mining, looking for those opal, void opals, low temperature diamonds, panite, unlocking the engineers and the like. I may even take a trip over to Colonia, because that's changing since I went over there about 18 months ago. So that trip is obviously going to change, what with the Guardian FSD boosters and the like. So there you go. Limpet controllers, let's talk about those, right? So I've got the collector limpets. That takes all the hassle out of mining. Just fire them off, they go away, they collect it. Don't forget to have your cargo scoop open, and they'll just put those deposits directly into your cargo hold. Don't run out of limpets, but if you do, you can always make more. Anyway, there you have it. I've been Ricardo, and this has been my reboot and restart take on mining. A little bit waffly, I know it has been, but check back with more videos in the series.